Okay, let's come downstairs. Let's hear from our winning crew chief. That's Steve Addington. Steve, a terrific job out there tonight calling the shots in the pit box, and got to feel good being in victory lane back-to-back weekends at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
It's awesome. I don't know how to describe the feeling, but I know that it feels really good to look on the guys' faces when you cross that finish line underneath that checkered flag first, and that's what it's all about. I love seeing the guys happy, and their hard work pays off. You know, we sit and talk about what we need to put in the race car, but the guys that are out there making pit stops and working on the car are the ones that really put their blood and sweat out there for us to be able to run good. So that's the big key for me, is to be able to come to Charlotte and run this good.
Questions now back open for questions for Kurt or Steve Addington. Any questions? Got one back there. Mark Garrow's got one.
This is for both of you, Mark Garrow, PRN. First, Steve, how big of a change, small change, did you make to the car, or if any change there on that final pit stop? And did Kurt know all of a sudden he had a better race car?
Put the red wheels on it. Yeah, they were telling me that Kurt didn't. He turned around and looked and saw the red wheels after his interview there on TV back there, and he was like, "What's it doing with red wheels on it?" We were just trying to keep our car balanced right, and we look at different things in the tire sets, and from where we were the best, that's where we wanted to be at the end of the race, and that's what we went down and borrowed a set of tires from. We were getting low on tires, and they were having to glue them up, and we were really worried about a pit stop costing us a race because the lug nuts weren't dried on the wheels. So I sent the tire guys down to the 77 pit, and they had a set of tires that pretty much matched where we were at our best. So that's why we ended up with red wheels on it. But instead of getting a set from Goodyear and not knowing exactly what we had, we kept it consistent to what was on the car, and that was a big difference. And the guys busted off a heck of a pit stop right there at the end. It was going to be, if we went out behind the one car, I felt like the one car would have won the race. We were matching each other lap time for lap time, and it's hard to pass when you're doing that. When he was in front of us, we were running the same lap times as him, and when he was behind us, he was running the same lap times as us. So that pit stop was key to getting off there in that restart to win the race.
Other questions? Mike, you have one? Go ahead.
MikeNutt, frontstretch.com. For both of you, but probably for Kurt, the last couple runs before that final pit stop, you were fast early, and then Jamie would catch up to you and pass you on in. The one time you had some junk on your radiator, but the other time he pretty much just ran you down. Were you worried that 21, 22 laps, whatever that last run was going to be just enough for him to get you right at the end, or did you think with the red wheels you're going to be able to hold him off?
That special match set of red wheels. You know, I felt like when we did get behind him to help with that debris on the radiator and to clean that off, and it flew off, you know, when things go your way, they just click. And when we had that stop, car got a little tight when we were behind him, and we were running to the end. And with the caution coming out with 25 or so to go, my crew put me out in front. I told them to loosen it up. I thought I could do it in 20. If we had to have a 50-lap run at the end, he might have had the stronger car. So that's where it worked out in our favor. I mean, you can back me up on that. I think that what we saw last week with our power on the short run to win that all-star race, we would have been foolish to do anything different except leave that setup in and work around it. And maybe McMurray was a little better at the end, but it wasn't like we fell back into the clutches of the group. He separated himself to come up and get us. And I don't know how many laps we led today, but it was an awesome feeling.
Go ahead.
Dick Cox with Cox Sports Broadcasting. What did you learn from last Saturday night's race you think that was able to help you tonight?
Just the general setup and some of the aerodynamic balances. And, you know, the engine didn't hurt last week. And so I was pushing hard on those engine guys to, you know, hey, can I have this power for 600 miles? And, you know, they looked at me funny and said, you got to take care of it. You can't put miles on it in practice. And, you know, it's a different package just slightly from that 100-lap sprint last week to this 400-miler. So it's just an overall package. I couldn't be happier to have Steve, to have Dave Winston, Tom German, all of our guys bouncing ideas off each other. There's not one week that we don't improve something on our cars when we show up.
Let's take it back here to the back, please.
Kim Robertson, Insider Racing News. The 48 looked like it had crashed out completely tonight. They went in 33 laps later. They came back out. You guys are now ahead of them in points, but how important is it, and this is for both of you, how important is it for you to consider when an incident like that happens to turn around and get the car back on track? Is that more important than ever these days with as tight as everybody's running in the top 12, running to the chase?
Yeah, I mean, it's big. You've got to go back there and assess the damage and try to get back out, whether it's for 4 points anymore, to get a car back out there. So when I saw the wreck, I thought that they were probably pretty much done, but those guys aren't going to give up. They're after a championship, and they want to be in this chase, and that's the way they are. That's the mentality of them. That's the mentality of every one of us in the garage area. So, yes, it's big to get the car back there, get it fixed as quick as possible, and get it back out there to make points, as many as you can. They're going to be a championship contender. If you're going to win this championship, you're going to have to beat those guys, and you're going to have to beat the Gibbs bunch and the Hendricks bunch to win this championship, and that's what we're concentrating on, is making our stuff better to do that.
Go ahead. Downstairs.
Damian Sorlet, Danville Register and B. Kurt, this one's for you. How much does it mean to get Roger Penske a win here in the 600, especially after the guys at Indy couldn't get the victory, and how much it means to have the Ganassi guy finish behind you after Ganassi's team won at Indy?
It's just a dream weekend that we've had with starting last Saturday night. I mean, it even started on Friday night with us getting the pole with that rain out. We almost got a clean sweep with the pole on Thursday night this past week, just 400 short. And all of it's due to the teamwork. And when you sit back and think about it, coming into the media center here and going to victory lane, when it starts to sink in, the first person I think about is Roger Penske. And when I came to the program, we won at Michigan early on, and that was special. We won the Daytona 500 together. Ryan Newman did. I pushed him to try to help do it. I always feel like I got a little bit of that win. And then to win the big 600 and the All-Star back-to-back, this is something that will be front and center in Rogers' NASCAR trophy case, and I was happy to deliver, and especially having Miller Lite on the side of the car because, this isn't a farewell tour. We'll still be with those guys, but, anytime we can get Miller in victory lane this year and get beer sold, that's our job.